All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. We are so excited to have so many wonderful people on today. My name is Misty Frazier. I am the Assistant Director for Internships at Texas A&M University, San Antonio, and I will be serving as your Zoom tech for the day. So if there's anything that you need, just message me or chat with me and we will see what we can get going. This is an interactive event, but please stay on mute until asked to share or asked about questions, things like that. And we're going to have some fun interactions as well. So we have polls for you throughout the event. So I've launched our first poll. And so we are going to get started with that. All right, so can everybody see the first poll? So go ahead and put in your answers. Where are you currently in your career journey? All right, and we see people in the chat too, sharing where they're from. We got some great UTSAs on in the house. Woo! A&M San Antonio, great. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this poll now. I know it's gonna be quick and fast, everything that we're doing today, but we have a lot of great stuff for you guys. So, all right, so I'm gonna close out the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So here are the results, because I know we all like to see, right? What are the results? So we have a lot of our participants today looking for employment, a lot currently employed, so that's awesome. Okay, great. So yeah, keep introducing yourself in the chat. We'd love to know what university you're from, what you're studying as well. Okay, so as we move on, we hope you're going to gain a lot from today's experience. But now is my pleasure to introduce our fabulous leader for this event. He has been working with me and with universities all around Texas since 2020 to provide these virtual events. He'll tell you a little bit more about that, but he and his team at RBFCU work super diligently to provide great insights and to share their experience with students from all over and across Texas. So it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Glenn Earhalt. He is the Director of HR Events for RBFCU, and he's been working in recruitment for a long time. I mean, I won't reveal how long, I'll let him do that, but he really knows his stuff, right? And he really has a passion for finding great talent and developing student talent. So I could go on and on, but without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Glenn. Thank you so much.
Misty, you can go on and on. That's okay. Misty, that's okay. Misty, thank you. Thank you so much. You know, as we were starting and putting this presentation together, I was thinking about this. It's almost 2 years to the day that we got together with your team at Texas A&M San Antonio and also at UTSA and with our friend, Mr. Howard. And we thought, how can we continue to help students through a very difficult time? So I'm completely honored and grateful for our continued collaboration. And you are always so diligent and professional with making this a success. And that's what we hope we can continue to do today. So, and by the way, we always appreciate your expertise in holding and hosting these virtual events. But again, events like this can't take place just by one person putting together. It definitely takes a team. So before we have our opening remarks, if you will, official welcome, I'd like to talk a little bit about our events team and introduce some of those individuals. First, I'd like to introduce Jorge Lunares. Jorge, can you talk a little bit about what you do and how you've supported this event?
All right, thank you, Glenn. All right, well, hello, everyone. As Glenn mentioned, my name is Jorge. Currently I'm a student ambassador for RBFCU event that is taking place right now. I had the honor to work along with Glenn, Professor Howard, who is my tax professor for this semester, as well as Bruce Howard, his father, and with Misty. It was a great honor to work with them to reach out to public institutions to get as many students as possible to attend this event. And not only that, though, but I also am the VP of Professional Development for Beta Alpha Psi, if y'all can see my background. And yeah, it was truly an honor to be able to work with them, and I'm looking forward for y'all to learn something new from today.
Thank you, Jorge. Thank you for the collaboration. Appreciate all your hard work. And now I'd like to introduce somebody who's becoming a really good friend of mine. His name is Brandon Howard. In fact, this event started because Brandon sent me an email. about 2.5 months ago, maybe 3. And he said, Glenn, I'd love to bring my students, our group to RBFCU. Believe me, we love having students at RBFCU. We absolutely love having students, and we can't wait till we can do that. But at the time, it wasn't feasible. And so this was an option. We decided, let's host an open house, an externship where you get to learn a little bit more about RBFCU, but strategically, we had an opportunity to change a little bit. So we are going to share information about risk, compliance, audit, accounting, and more. But again, Brandon, thank you so much for the email, for kicking this off. And please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Thanks, Glenn. Hi, everyone. My name is Brandon Howard. I am faculty in the Department of Accounting at UTSA. I teach mainly the tax curriculum, but I get the pleasure of working with our chapter of Beta Alpha Psi as the faculty advisor and helping the students to find their path in their career, whatever that may look like. Additionally, I am a practicing CPA in San Antonio. I have a small practice of my own that I do tax compliance and accounting for individuals and small business. And I serve on the board of the Texas State Society of CPAs and on the executive board of our local chapter of the Texas State Society. So really excited to get the ball rolling here with Glenn and the RBFCU team, and to see so many faces online. Thanks for taking some time out of your Friday to do this, because it will pay dividends later on.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate those warm words. I know you and I met together at a job fair many years ago. So it's just exciting to see how your career has flourished in support not only of your own career, but of students throughout San Antonio and in Texas. Appreciate the collaboration. And now I'd like to introduce a good friend of mine, a good friend of RBFCU, a good friend of students at Texas State, but more than that, a good friend of students throughout Texas. Mr. Bruce Howard, who's the executive director of the South Texas Alliance of Career Champions. Mr. Howard, welcome.
Glenn, thank you. Thank you very much. Great to be with you again. Great to be with the RBFCU team. This is certainly a very valuable opportunity for our audience to hear about the wonderful career opportunities that this credit union provides. This organization has been continually growing and developing. And I kind of second my son's comment. You'll be glad you're here, because, you know, one of the things that drives us to do events like this is exemplified by my metaphor here in my background. I have this picture of the Golden Gate Bridge behind me on purpose, not to suggest that I'm sitting in San Francisco, but to highlight the fact that there's many of us involved in workforce development, especially for college students right now, that want to help you build that bridge to your career, to your next step, you know, coming out of college, university, wherever you may be. So I'm looking forward to spending the time here with you to help you just learn about these different career paths, but also to help you learn a little bit about the RBFCU opportunities as well. Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. So appreciate our continued collaboration. You mentioned RBFCU, how we've grown. And so hopefully, if you are students and you are looking for employment opportunities, maybe you've already done a little research on the RBFCU team, the RBFCU stories. But if not, I'm going to talk a little bit about that and also introduce the agenda. So what do we have planned for you today? The event team put together an agenda which starts with obviously opening remarks from RBFCU, a little conversation with some of our executive team. And then also we are going to have some really insightful conversations with individuals that are working in risk, compliance, audit, accounting, and finance. So you'll have a chance to listen to them and hear their stories, academic career journeys, and what took them so long to get to RBFCU. Did I say that? But yes. And then we're going to have some breakout rooms where you will get a chance to ask some questions directly to them. We'll end it by bringing these poll questions together. So throughout the presentation, you will receive poll questions. And then Mr. Howard and I will talk a little bit about those poll questions and then offer you some career development tips and tools to be a more competitive candidate as you start looking for employment opportunities. In fact, towards the very end, we'll also talk about the relaunch of our internship program, what that looks like, and when we plan on unveiling that and moving it forward. And then we'll stop and really talk about career resources available to each of you at your current institutions, and then wellness opportunities. Misty Frazier will talk a little bit about that, and then we'll end with reflections, networking, and answer any questions that we may have missed throughout the program. RBFCU. I can remember when I started almost Ashley 12 years ago, coming up on 12 years. I had a wonderful 2-hour interview with Ashley, the best interview I was ever in my life, because one of the things that came through that interview is I was going to have a chance to work with a team that really cared, not just about me, but the community. And that's what I've tried to do throughout my career. RBFCU has tripled in size in the last 10 years. So when I say triple in size, what does that mean? Well, we've tripled in the number of members that we have. We're excited that we just celebrated our 1 millionth member. 1 million members. We're continuing to help members throughout the state of Texas. When I started, I think we were just in San Antonio and Austin, and today we're in San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, Plano, Frisco, Allen, Fort Worth, Corpus Christi, New Braunfels. For now, we continue to grow. When you think about assets under management, I think at that time we managed about 3.5 billion in assets, and we definitely have tripled in size, and we've been very fortunate that we've been able to grow through the pandemic. But this presentation, the things that we're going to share with you about RBFCU to help you be that competitive candidate really ties into employment. So in the last 10 years, we've also tripled in size with the number of employees that currently work at RBFCU. There's more wonderful employment opportunities than ever before. And I've been fortunate to be a part of that. So I think we had about 650 employees today, Ashley, about 2,100 employees. But that doesn't just happen overnight. And so with that, it is my honor and my privilege to introduce somebody who has guided the RBFCU team through that growth, the Senior Vice President of Human Resources, to officially welcome you to this event. Ashley?
Thank you so much, Glenn. It's so important that we have this opportunity to speak with all of you today and really to help you understand more about the opportunities that are available at the credit union. As Glenn mentioned, we have seen tremendous growth over the years, and I had the opportunity to join Randolph Brooks in a little over 21 years ago. When I started, we had just over 500 employees, and we were at just a little bit over 2 billion in assets. Today, we're over 15 billion in assets. And as Glenn mentioned, we have grown to over 2,100 employees. But we do that through a lot of internal transfer and promotion. Whenever I first started, I actually started whenever we opened our 16th branch, our Oak Run branch in New Braunfels. And I came in as a teller. I didn't know all the opportunities that the credit union had at that point in time. I didn't realize that we were made up of a marketing department and a compliance department and an auditing department and an IT department. And so part of the reason why it's so important for us to reach out and connect with the colleges and universities that are in our area is to help you to learn more about what may be available to you at these local organizations. Today, we hope to share that with you because I actually came to the Human Resources Department through an internship. And that is something that could be potentially available to all of you if you are interested in doing so. So thank you, Glenn, for that introduction and for this opportunity just to speak with you all. I will also be here not speaking about risk and compliance because it's not my area of specialty, but I will be here to answer any questions that you have in regards to human resources and the opportunities that are available through our website, www.rbfcu.org, if any of you are interested in joining our team. Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you, Ashley. So appreciate your support and collaboration throughout the years. And did I say thank you for that 2-hour interview that we had many, many years ago? Appreciate your opening remarks. And now we'd also like to invite some of our executive team to talk a little bit about themselves and also the departments that they manage and support here at RBFCU. So it's my honor and privilege to introduce Eileen Solis. She is our Senior Vice President of Internal Audit. And she's going to talk a little bit about her story and the things that she does with RBFCU today. Eileen? I think she's struggling a little bit with the audio. I think we'll come back to her. We'll move forward with Bernice Varial. Bernice is our Senior Vice President and Chief Risk Officer. Bernice also was on that email 2.5 months ago from Brandon saying, how can we bring our team out there? So it's my honor and privilege to introduce Bernice Varial to talk a little bit about her career and her responsibilities here at RBFCU.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be here. Thank you for the introduction, Glenn. I am, as Glenn mentioned, the Chief Risk Officer here at RBFCU, and I am a graduate from UTSA. So hello to all of the fellow UTSA students, as well as everyone else that has joined. It has been a while since I was in school, over 20 years. But I do still remember sort of my path and the story of how I arrived at RBFCU and my career path. Today, I oversee risk management and compliance, which to us, that means overseeing regulatory compliance with all the myriad of laws and regulations that the banks, financial institutions have to comply with. We also, I'm also responsible for the legal department. How a CPA, not an attorney, is responsible for the legal department. It happens. So as you can see, everyone's path is going to be unique. I oversee vendor management, our enterprise risk program, and our knowledge management program. So I graduated from UTSA in 1999. Like I said, it was a while back, and I have a degree in both accounting and finance. UTSA provided me with tremendous resources to really figure out what the best path was for me. I did do some internships, but really the best resource that I found at UTSA, which helped me select my career path, was the alumni group within the Career Center. So I met a wonderful man that worked at a CPA firm that shared with me what auditing was like. I had the false perception that accounting or auditing was just a lot of number crunching, even though that was my major. I hadn't gotten deep into it. And he convinced me to really go down the CPA firm, down the audit track. And I'm so glad I got an opportunity to do that. It allowed me the opportunity to see all types of different businesses, all types of different industries, to really understand the inner workings of a business, a lot of different processes, and of course, the accounting and financial reporting that comes with it. So I remember he told me, accounting is the language of business. So once you speak that language, you're able to understand so much more about where a company is and where a company can go. So definitely found a passion in CPA work and auditing. And I was able to work for a CPA firm for 6 years. As part of that experience, one of my major industries that I focused on was credit unions. Now, I don't know if all of you are familiar with credit unions, but they are different from a bank or just a regular financial institution in that they are a nonprofit. Credit unions are very, very much people-centered. People helping people is one of their mottos. And I absolutely felt that when I audited all these credit unions. Credit unions were unique in that they were normally smaller than financial institutions, but they were also very much mission as well as people-driven. So RBFCU was one of my main clients as a CPA. I used to work on their audit. So once a position became available in the audit department, I jumped on that opportunity and started in the audit department. The credit union, RBFCU, believes in opportunities within. So anytime there was an opportunity to take on a challenge in a different department, I was able to take that. And of course, as an internal employee, you have a preference, you have an advantage. So what that meant is I worked in a variety of departments, including our payments department, our business account services. I worked in consumer lending because we do make a lot of auto loans, credit card loans, and personal loans. So I oversaw that department, and then came back to risk management. For accounting majors, general business majors, it is such an opportunity to be part of the risk management world. I don't think accounting is certainly the only track. In risk management, we're able to break down processes, break down products. It does require a lot of analytical skills. And so I think the accounting or CPA background, the finance background, is absolutely a skill that transfers over to risk and compliance.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And Bernice, so what are some of the most challenging aspects of your current role?
You know what? After dealing with the details of what an audit entails over the years, now it's really dealing with just the amount of responsibility and objectives that we have. You'll meet a couple of folks from the risk and compliance team today, Eric and Denise. We just had a meeting earlier today, and we were talking about how do we prioritize, how do we get everything done. So when it comes to being a leader at RBFCU, I think the biggest challenge is leading the work, coordinating the work, and making sure that we all move in the same direction to reach the credit union objectives.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for sharing. And again, to the audience, if you want to talk a little bit more with Bernice and her team, they'll be in the breakout room. So we're glad to answer any questions you may have. It looks like I was able to get Eileen on the phone. Eileen, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Fantastic. Well, again, it's my honor and privilege to introduce our Senior Vice President of Internal Audit, Eileen Solis. Eileen, thank you for taking time to meet with us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Glenn. And I'm sorry, everyone, that I'm not usually this technologically challenged, but for some reason today, this just wasn't working for me. So I'd much rather see everyone's face and let everyone see mine, but at least I'm able to join this way. So thank you, Glenn, for putting this together. I think this is a great way to make the connections with the folks from UTSA. I myself am a graduate of UTSA as well. I graduated with my accounting degree as well as my master's in accounting as well. I'm a CPA, and I went through at the time they called it the 150-hour program, essentially, to gather all of the hours that I needed in order to sit for the CPA exam. And now I know there's a special or specific program that's designed for that. So that's really great to see some of those changes come about. I think for me, what was probably one of the greatest resources as well was career services there at UTSA, but more so the relationships that I built in my job. So very similar to Ashley, I started as a teller, but I started at Frost Bank. So I started in the banking world, and that's where I've been. But same thing, right? Just building those relationships with folks throughout the organization that you work in. And so I did that for about 2.5 years. And then I moved into the audit department as an intern. And that was just a wealth of information while I was still going to school. In fact, when I joined the audit department, I was taking my first audit class throughout my degree plan. And so that was a really good way, or a nice way to really see, is it something that I really wanted to do, both from the academic side and then actually having some hands-on learning at the same time. So I worked as an intern for several years, finished both of my degrees, became a full-time staff auditor, and just kind of, worked up into the senior auditor roles and manager role. And then actually, Bernice was the one that found me and recruited me over to RBFCU. And it was the best decision I've ever made. And so it took me about, I think this was Frost, almost 8 years. But I've now been with RBFCU going on 13 years, and started within the internal audit department. And I think I'm somewhat unique in the sense that I have been within the internal audit department my entire career here at RBFCU. Not to say that that won't change. As Bernice said, there are so many opportunities and a lot of movement that happens within the organization. And so I look forward to any of those opportunities that may come my way at some point. But definitely, Bernice talked about the difference between the banking world and the credit union world. And I can certainly attest to that. It is very different. The culture here within a credit union, or maybe even just a not-for-profit organization, it's incredible. It's incredible to see the difference. Just that not-for-profit. A lot of what we do is member focused, is member driven, and the give back to the membership and the community, that doesn't take place on the banking side. Absolutely. At least that's not what my experience was. So that was probably one of the greatest benefits that I saw moving over to the credit union world, and why I think it was such a good decision for me.
Absolutely.
So as I mentioned, I've been within the internal audit department, and we within audit, we audit every area of the organization. I think that's what I have enjoyed most about being on this side, is being able to really see the inner workings of the entire organization. We are by no means experts of every process within the organization, but we have an idea and an understanding in order to audit and make meaningful recommendations for improvement, and really trying to serve as a business partner versus a gotcha type mentality. That's definitely not what we serve here at RBFCU. So we've really taken pride in continuing that culture, mainly to continue to improve RBFCU and the overall departments throughout the organization. I think that from a background perspective, as Bernice mentioned, the accounting function, finance, but even the data analytics side, that is certainly something that we in audit have come to really lean on when it comes to auditing, simply because we're able to use data analytics to review larger populations versus what we have been in the past with manual selections of, manual reviews of just different processes throughout the organization. And so you'll get to meet with John Hansen, or he'll get to speak with you. John Hansen leads our IT audit and data analytics teams within audit. And he'll be able to give some additional insight on the importance of that, and why that could potentially be a positive path to take through your academic journey.
Fantastic. Eileen, thank you so much. And just to mention to everybody, Eileen, Bernice, and Ashley have been instrumental in our ability to launch early on our internship program, if you will, and they remain just amazing supporters of our ability to offer internships. A little insight into RBFCU, again, that I'll be talking about a little bit later. So Eileen, thank you so much for supporting this event, Bernice and Ashley. And as we move forward, this event, again, could not have taken place. In fact, this one that we have right now, if it wasn't for some of the collaborations with our community partners. And I noticed that Adrian Ramirez one of the executive leads, directors at UTSA Career Services on board. Adrian, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for supporting this 2 years ago. It's hard to believe it's been 2 years, but please, we welcome you to say a few words as well before we start the conversations with the individuals in the different areas. Adrian?
Certainly, Glenn. Thank you again for the opportunity and the invitation, and welcome students. As Glenn mentioned, my name is Adrian Ramirez. I'm the Director of Career Development and College Relations in the University Career Center at UT San Antonio. So for our UTSA folks in the room, go Runners, along with everybody else in the room, I'm happy to meet with you today. Happy to represent UTSA at our event this afternoon. I think somebody mentioned earlier, an association with Glenn. I have known Glenn for many years now, and I think we met, as somebody mentioned earlier, at a job fair a few years ago too. So it's interesting how these things work out. But as you mentioned, Glenn, and I'm going to echo a lot of what was said before. You mentioned that the genesis of this partnership really kind of crystallized in 2020, and I recall during that time, again, for a lot of us in this room, there was a lot of uncertainty in terms of, where students, recent college graduates may be looking or investing their professional interests. And, so grateful for the opportunity to move forward with some sort of a partnership and conversation with RBFCU to continue promoting opportunities to students, educating them on the importance of investing in professional development and experiential learning. So for those students who are joining us this afternoon, as somebody who's worked in career development for a little over a decade, I offer my kudos to you for taking time out of your afternoon schedule to participate in an event like this. Engaging in these kinds of opportunities is incredibly important and will pay dividends later on in your career as you begin getting to know where your professional interests lie. So I would encourage you, I know that my colleagues, Misty, everybody else in the room, we would encourage you to make as much use of this experience as possible, even if you're still navigating and learning about your professional interests. Get to know the people in the room, ask questions, learn as much as you can about the opportunities that RBFCU is offering by way of internships or other kinds of professional development. And again, selfish plug, reach out to your career center. I think it was mentioned before, UTSA Career Center, but all the other career center folks represented today. So whether you're a student at UTSA, A&M, any other institution, after this event, maybe reflect over the weekend on things you learned, and then reach out to your local career center to talk to a consultant or a team member about questions that you raised and what that might mean for later on in your career, because that's what we're here for. We're here to serve as a sounding board, as a guide, as mentors for you, and we want to be a resource for you in helping you process and navigate these experiences. So again, thanks for the invitation, and I'm looking forward to participating.
Adrian, thank you so much. You bring back memories. If I'm not mistaken, you and I met at St. Edward's University, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was on a bus going to a career fair. Isn't that right?
I was driving the van. Yeah, I was driving the van from the parking lot to the career fair. And I think we met, and I drove you from the parking lot to the fair and then back at the end of the event. So
I think I remember you were probably thinking, who is this guy who keeps talking way too much, But and we've talked about it, the only reason I talk too much is because we all care. We all care for the careers of those that are joining us today. So Adrian, thank you to you and your team. Please give our best to Mario and your wonderful staff. We look forward to our continued collaboration. So there you go. Those that are on board and are listening to this presentation, you're listening to community leaders. Networking is critical, important, as Adrian has talked about. Now let's get to some of the presentations and the rooms. Misty's going to launch some additional poll questions, and then it's going to be my pleasure to turn it over to Mr. Bruce Howard, who's going to have career conversations with some of our guests. Bruce?
Well, let's look at these poll questions going here. The question number 2, you guys see on the screen. So Misty, you want to lead us through that?
Yeah, absolutely. We got lots of responses so far, so we'll close it up in about 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, oh, it's moving. Okay, 1. All right. So what we have here for what do you think the unemployment rate in San Antonio is? There's quite a bit of response, and we'll find out at the end. So stay tuned what the real answer is. Yes, we're going to leave y'all hanging on that one. All right. So we have one more question before we move into our panelists. So this one's a fun one as well. Thinking about how you represent yourself, even on your phone voice message. So go ahead and look at all the choices there. What does your voice message say right now? So let's see. Okay, lots coming in here. Okay, go. It's going fast. Okay, we're going to close it out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so there we go. So we have pretty across the board in generic, not set up, but professional, positive, enthusiastic. Again, we'll talk more about that at the end of today's time together. So awesome job, everyone. All right, Bruce.
Misty, thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you, Glenn. Okay, audience, this is going to be really good. So, I really appreciate those words from Adrian Ramirez, my good friend Adrian. I mean, he was exactly right in saying, this is about education, learning, exploring. We learn from others. We learn from others' journeys. You've already heard from 3 of the senior leaders within RBFCU. And now we're going to get the chance to even talk a little bit deeper into these organizations, these top 4 financial sectors, if you will, of the credit union's operation. So this is, again, a chance for you to learn a little bit about, okay, how'd you get into this? What do you like about it? How do you fit? Things like that, because it'll help you begin to mold your own strategy about how to build your career development program. And I think the common theme, I hope you've heard already between the folks that we've already listened to, this is really a journey, isn't it? I mean, think of like Ashley's, she started as a teller, and what a wonderful story to recognize it. Now she's the senior VP of a largest credit union in the city. I mean, so don't get stuck on what you think you can do. It's really about what you want to do and learning about the skills and strengths necessary. So today we've got the top 4 sectors of this financial group. Okay, accounting and finance, internal audit, risk, and compliance. And so, as you can imagine, in a financial services world, those are all 4 pretty important sectors. And we're going to ask our panelists that represent those 4 sectors to talk a little bit about, their journey, their background, if you will, and hopefully you'll pick up some good information that you may find related to you, to your world, to what you want to do, and where you want to go. So panelists, let me start. I want to ask each of you just to introduce yourself and the department you're in, the position you hold, and just a quick, give us an overview of the academic path you have taken, where'd you go to college, university, the degrees you have. Okay, so accounting and finance is represented by Byron. Byron, why don't you lead us off?
Howdy, I'm Byron Frederick. I'm the manager of financial reporting in the finance department. Been here in the department for 2 years and coming up on my 5th with the credit union. So academically, I actually started at Texas A&M University in College Station in engineering. That wasn't for me. I decided that wasn't going to work and started doing communication studies. I just found it a really interesting field of study. Transferred to Texas State because they have a little bit more of a liberal arts side to it. Also, campus is nice. And along the way, I kind of picked up a minor in accounting or business minor, and I like the accounting aspect of that. Around 2007, 2008, things weren't going super well in the economy, and I was getting close to graduating. So I thought, you know what, maybe I'll do something with accounting. So I went in to get my leveling adjustments and got my master's of accountancy, went back for that, and graduated in 2010 with that, and then proceeded to get my CPA in the next couple of years thereafter.
Very good. again, a little bit of a journey there, right? So next, representing internal audit is Mr. John Hansen. John, tell us, if you would, introduce yourself and your position and your academic path. I think you're muted, John. Yep. There you go.
Okay. I started off by saying I'm a guy with an accent, so you have to pay very close attention. I have a very strange background as far as my career is concerned, so I'm trying to put everything together for you. So I'm originally from Ghana, actually. Well, let me start with the department. I am currently the head of IT, audit, and data analytics, and I am a AVP. So not like Baron, I started my career as mechanical engineer, actually, and I work as marine engineer for 3.5 years. So the question is, why am I in audit right now, right? Well, I couldn't get used to seasickness. I was always seasick. I enjoyed the sail and everything, but I was always miserable doing sailing. So I decided to change my career. At that time, they sent me to US to work on a sister ship. And I decided, okay, you know what? It's not working for me. So I'm going back to school. And I went back to school and I did computer information systems. And this can be an encouragement for any of the students. When I decided to do computer information systems, I didn't even know how to log into computers, right? And the university, City University in Ohio, the requirement to be a computer information system major is to be able to pass computer language C++. So, but I managed to get B+. So that kept me in the program. So I finished with computer information systems. And as a foreign student, either I get a job and get sponsorship, or I go back to school to retain my visa. And I wasn't smart enough at that time to seriously pursue career at that time. I was just too much into education. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna pursue my master's, something relating to mechanical engineering. So I went for management science, which is related to engineering management. And so I did master's in that at University of Dayton in Ohio. And after that, I got a lot of opportunities with US Navy and Air Force because that management science started in World War II. But they were not going to sponsor me because 9/11 has just happened. So I had to go back to the drawing board. I had a choice either to go back to Ghana, go back to school, and to retain my visa, or find a job and get sponsorship. I didn't get a job I didn't get any company to sponsor me at that time. And I decided I wasn't going to go to Ghana and I wasn't going to live here illegal either. So that means I have to go back to school. So I was thinking about going for my PhD in finance. And then I decided, okay, let me do a little bit of research and see what kind of program I can pursue to be more competitive advantage in the job market. So I look into the accounting firms, and I saw that Sarbanes-Oxley was a very big thing at that time. So I looked at it and I found out that most of the accounting firms, they are actually recruiting for both accounting professionals and information systems, but usually they don't have one person who can do both of them. So I decided, okay, this is a good thing for me. So I'm gonna go and pursue MBA, and I did MBA in accounting. So I graduated with MBA in accounting, and lo and behold, before I graduated, I got an offer to work for Deloitte & Touche. So I worked for Deloitte & Touche for 7 years. I left, worked for New Star Energy, a lot of experience in multiple industries. And then with a strategic move, I decided to work for RBFCU, and I have enjoyed my time at RBFCU. I will be 3 years in May. And so here we are, and anyone who wants to pursue IT audit, yeah, talk to me. We are very good teachers too. We will train you, don't worry about it. Not like Deloitte, you know, they gave me a computer. I didn't know anything about audit. They gave me a computer. They sent me to a client in Louisiana and say, here's your computer, here's your client, do the work. And but anyway, I didn't die, I survived. But there's a whole lot of story behind that. So talk to me later if you know more.
That's fantastic, John. My gosh, what a journey. That I think we're going to make you the definition. You're going to be the poster child when it talks about it. But look, that's audience. Listen to what he's sharing with you. I mean, that is really a good example that you just don't know, and it's well, that's what learning's all about. You do it, you amend, you adjust, you recalculate, you reset, boom. And so sounds really fantastic. Okay, our next group is entitled just a simple word, risk. But oh my gosh, you can imagine the risk that a credit union has to deal with. And Denise, why don't you please introduce yourself, your position, and a little bit about your academic path.
Sure, it's nice to meet everybody. My name is Denise Zimmer, and I am the AVP in the Enterprise Risk Management team working for our CRO, Bernice. I actually graduated from UT El Paso with a finance degree, and obviously my career path is not as interesting as John's, but I started off in finance. I went to Career Day, and we had a career day with a bunch of companies coming in for looking for students just like you guys to apply. And I actually applied for the Office of the Controller of the Currency, the OCC, which they oversee and regulate all national banks. And so that's really how I got started in the banking industry, working as a regulator. And then after that, I pursued careers in the risk space, the audit space, and the compliance space. And right now, my colleague Eric will talk, and he's more over compliance risk, but my area, enterprise risk management, really focuses on some primary risks within the credit union. So financial risks, as well as operational risks, IT risks, and strategic and reputation risks as well. So just a little bit about my background.
Very good. Thank you. It's got to be very rewarding to be able to participate in a role like that, because, you can say, I helped prevent boom, and so that's really exciting. Good for you.
Thank you.
Okay. And yes, our next sector we're going to talk about is compliance. Again, maybe just one word, but oh my gosh, compliance in a financial services, highly regulatory industry like a credit union. So Eric, introduce yourself, please, sir, and tell us about your path.
Absolutely. And I'm very happy to be here. My name is Eric Martinez. I am the Vice President of Risk and Compliance, and I report to Bernice, our CRO. And just to give you some background, I've been with RBFCU for about 2 years, and I'm originally from El Paso, just like Denise, and I also went to the University of Texas at El Paso. I actually started off as a pre-dental student. About 2 semesters in, I found out that that's not for me, and I looked into finance. And when I went to finance, I really enjoyed it, and I essentially stuck with that path to finance and did get a finance degree. As far as my career journey actually started off with internships. One of the things that UTEP did is they did a really good job about career fairs, and a lot of the employers actually offer a lot of internships. So I used that as a way to really identify where I really wanted to be, what I really liked. I interned for a pharmaceuticals company, GlaxoSmithKline. I found very quickly that I didn't want to be in pharmaceutical reps. I also did a little stint in investments. And then I actually got an internship at the same place that Denise was, with the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. And they had a very unique internship program because you actually took 6 months off of school to travel as an examiner. And the great thing is when I graduated, the economy was in a very bad state. So finding a job was a little bit difficult, but because I already had that internship, I essentially had a job lined up. So that's just goes to show you kind of the power of internships, right? And just their ability to let you kind of test the waters, right, for a career that you want to do. So that's kind of my career path. After I graduated, went to the OCC, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, got to travel the country, and got tired of traveling. So then went more into private sector, so worked with USA, and finally had an opportunity to come to RBFCU. And like we said, right, I'll talk a little bit about compliance. So like Bruce said, banking is one of the most highly regulated institutions or just sectors, right? And for good reason, right? They're the ones that we get our home loans with, right? They're institutions that keep our money safe, right? So we want to make sure that, we're doing a good job, right? And keeping money safe in our homes, right? And so, but really, what does that mean, right? What does compliance mean, right? It just means we need to make sure that we follow all the laws and regs that are applicable to banking, right? And we do that in two ways, right? The first way is to build compliant processes, making sure that the process that's set up is compliant to begin with. And then secondly is to identify monitoring controls to identify when there might be gaps or breaks in the system, right? So those two ensure that we make sure that we take care of our members and we take care of our organization by making sure we essentially comply with the laws and regulations. So that's quickly my journey.
Very good. Yeah. As we say, something to do, right? Yeah. Busy man. And thank goodness you're there. Okay, well, our community is really lucky to have these individuals working, around us and working in this organization. But if I'm not mistaken, I didn't hear any of the four say that, when they were 6 years old, they wanted to work at a credit union. So I'm going to ask our panelists, how did you get to RBFCU? What brought you to RBFCU? And we'll go back at the top and start with Byron. Byron?
Sure thing. So when I was done with college or getting close to being done with college, one of my parents or one of my old youth ministers at my old church reached out to me. He was the commissioner for the Texas Department of Savings and Mortgage Lending. And he wanted me to come in and interview for that because he knew I'd done my master's in accounting and had met me over the years. So something to keep in mind is you never know what contacts are going to get you that first step in the door, but that's what it was for me. So interviewed there, and I got my start just like to the other panelists as a bank examiner, doing state saving banks in the state of Texas. I was there for about 5 years, did a whole lot of travel. Really was a fantastic job. I loved it a lot. It was very interesting, and it kind of got me into banking. But one thing I started thinking at the time was if I wanted to keep traveling my whole life, or if I wanted to maybe do something kind of in the more finance controller side of things. And I thought to myself that would be the next best step was to go get some experience in public accounting. So reached out to some of my contacts I'd made in those 5 years and got a job at Paget & Strataman, which is now RSM. About, I think the first busy season we finished up and that merger happened. And it was a little bit of a culture change there after the merger, but stuck it out for about 2 years, which was enough. And put my name out there after that because I said, you know what, this is great, but maybe a year out, I would just like to start looking into getting into banking itself. I wanted to do something that's either in like a small community bank or a credit union. And frankly, at the time, I thought I'd better start looking now because these positions don't open all the time in the finance departments or in audit departments. So I put my name out there, and just so happened that a position opened up in internal audit under Eileen as a senior internal auditor. So interviewed, started over there. That was 5 years ago. Worked up for a couple of years to team lead when, and should probably say, I was doing a lot of stuff with the annual external audit, as well as doing audits involving the finance department. When my boss, Sherry, who's somewhere in the chat here, you'll get to meet her later, she poached me and brought me downstairs to the finance department to manage the financial reporting. And that's how I got to where I am now.
Very good. Oh my gosh. Not only a journey, but an internal journey too, right?
Yep.
Okay, let's go back to John. And John, you were, running around on submarines or something, in the Navy. So tell us, how'd you find Randolph Brooks?
Well, the truth is, I wasn't looking specifically for Randolph Brooks, but I worked for Deloitte & Touche, and that introduced me to a lot of different industries. Banking was one of my secondary industries. My primary one is oil and gas and chemical and all, just too many anyway. So I worked for Deloitte & Touche for 70 years. After 70 years, I got married and I got questioned by my wife that if we travel 100%, how are we gonna have a family, right? So actually at Deloitte, I was on a partner track, but I thought about that and I love the travel and everything. It kind of reminded me a little bit of being a marine engineer and travel, going to a whole lot of other countries. But that thought of, always on the plane and not being able to see your kids and things like that made me decide to change directions. And so after that, I left Deloitte and I came to, I still needed a sponsorship though. I still needed I had not gotten my green card yet. I was actually 2 months away from getting my green card when I had to leave Deloitte because at least who person I thought it was a trusted friend, I shared my ideas that I might have to leave because of family issues. And the person ended up reporting upwards and they said, okay, we are in the end of May 31st. If we don't let this guy go right now, that means they have to give me bonus, I have to get my promotion, and then I may end up leaving anyway. So the last day of the year end, which is 31st of May, they called me in the office and they told me that we have decided to let you go. So anyway, they gave me 3 months salary and then they let me go. But there's nothing to be discouraged about. I started sending my resumes right away and I got a lot of offers in the very first week when that happened. And so I interviewed with PwC and they were not going to sponsor because I didn't have enough visa time to work for them. So I ended up getting an offer with New Star Energy in San Antonio. So I came to New Star. I was there for, again, almost 7 years. And I decided there was no any opportunity for growth. My last year, finally, when I decided I'm going to leave, it's because they even stopped doing IT audit or IT audit related project at all. And I felt like, man, this company, I don't know where they're going with this. When I went there, they had not even done what is called SCADA audit. And eventually, after convincing them, I was able to do that audit, and that really scared them a lot because of all the risk that they were dealing with without even knowing. So when they said they were not going to do any IT audit again, even though I did a lot of financial audit and vendor audit and all of that, I felt like, this is not the place to be. So I started looking, and actually I applied to multiple companies, and Frost was one of them. I interviewed with them first, and then I interviewed with RBFCU, and but Frost was a little late in their response because Frost is actually about only 5-10 minute drive from where I live. So it was a good location for me and everything. But a week after I accepted the offer with RBFCU, they also gave, extend offer to me. But my commitment is commitment, and I don't, usually I always say that I always work for a new company at least for 2 years and see whether I'm going to stay with them or not. And so that is what actually led me to IBFCU. And when I came, we've seen a lot of growth in the IT audit shop. I think we've made a lot of value added effort in helping the company addressing risk with technology risk and everything. The whole thing is, in today's economy, I don't care what industry you are in, your business will only flourish if you have a strong foundation in IT, IT support. If your IT support is not providing the necessary support that you need, eventually you will not be able to compete, and you may end up having a whole lot of other risk that may cost the company a lot. So that is what we've been doing so far, and we've been able to add value to the company, addressing some of these issues and moving the company forward.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, no, very good. Good. Glad you're here. Okay, Denise. Yeah, I don't think RBFCU has any branches in El Paso yet. Okay, they'll be there. So how did you find us here in San Antonio?
Well, it's been a long journey. So I started off in El Paso. I joined the OCC straight out of college, and that took me all over. So I was an examiner going all around examining different banks in the sort of southern region of the United States. I had the opportunity to go to some big banks, Bank of America, some banks in Florida, and it was just a great opportunity. It was during the financial crisis, so I actually got to see a lot of interesting things. I also got to be part of shutting some banks down, which is not a pleasant experience. But when they are not able to serve their members in a safe and sound manner, sometimes that happens. And so it was a very interesting career, but one much like Byron, on the road, traveling a lot. And I decided, after 5-6 years on the road, it's not for me anymore. That was just not what I wanted to do. I wanted to settle down. I wanted to buy a house. And I actually settled down in San Antonio. I got a position at a small community bank that I oversaw, and I started off as an auditor. And then from there, I joined USAA. And then one of my colleagues that I had worked at USAA was at RBFCU and really recruited me with the culture. The culture is something here at RBFCU that I have never experienced in any one of my positions. It's amazing, the flexibility, just the way the whole organization operates and comes together to serve one purpose for our members is just amazing. And so that's what brought me to RBFCU, and I am happy to be here.
Very good. Very good. How fortunate it is to be excited about going to work.
It is.
Yeah, no, that's a great feeling. I can tell you have that. So good deal. All right, Eric. So how'd you get here, buddy?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I share, as far as my journey goes, my journey is very similar to Denise's, where I started off with the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, traveled, the country, got tired of traveling. I wanted to have a dog, so got off the road and joined USA. And I think I also share, I think similar to others, right? I came to RBFCU through networks, right? And that just shows you the power of your network, your professional network. There was someone here at RBFCU that, again, right, spoke very, very highly of RBFCU and the culture. And at that time, I was not looking for a job. I was very happy in my current role at USA. And I thought, maybe I'm going to give them a shot, right? I'm going to go and interview. And when I actually interviewed Bernice. I interviewed, some other executives, and the culture of it is what brought me on board. So really, the culture is what brought me to RBFCU, and just want to put out there, right? Keep on building your network, right? That's one of the most important things you can do as a college student, but also just as you go through your journey as a professional.
Excellent. Well said. Very good. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Your network is your net worth. Okay. Now, audience, in just in a few minutes, we're getting ready to go into breakout rooms, and you'll get to visit with these 4 folks in a little bit more detail. So be ready with your questions and an opportunity to drill down even further into their career paths and how that, find out how they can help you get started. But before I leave everybody as a group, I'm going to ask our panelists, give us a diamond, give us a gem. All right, we want just real quick, give us one thing you'd like to share with your students that you would recommend and to them if they would like to pursue a career in the field you're in. Okay, And we'll go back to the top and start with Byron. Byron, give us a diamond to take us out of here.
Oh, one thing. I would say whichever direction you're going to go, whether it's finance or whatever, figure out what certification really says that, hey, I know this background, and pursue that. For our side, that's the CPA, and that's a good one for a lot of different areas. But if you're, risk, CRCM, if you're doing IT, they have IT certification, something that really helps set you apart and say, I know this, because it makes you pop up a lot higher whenever a job search is going on. So highly recommended.
Very good. Get the tool you need for the path you want, right?
Yep.
John, share a diamond with our audience.
I mean, work ethic is very, very important. I will always say that intelligence is just a tool. A tool is not going to bring food to the table. You have to use the tool to make something to bring food to the table. So it doesn't matter how intelligent you are. I would rather take a median intelligent person who has a work ethic, and the person is going to be successful. And that means whether the work you are doing or whether pursuing certifications. And I never thought when I came to US with only $500 without any family, but I was determined to go and change direction and go to school. And today I have 1 undergraduate, 2 masters, and I'm not even going to list certifications. But it's the strong work ethic that my parents built in me. So always, no matter what you are doing, whether you are recognized or not, guess what? There will be a time that it will pay off if you have a strong work ethic.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Good words. Certainly good words. Denise, what's your diamond?
I would just say to be open to new experiences, new jobs. This job market and the world is just ever changing. And if you change and you're able to be flexible to change, there's just not one career path out there for you. It'll open up a multiple avenues for you to go. So that's what I would say.
Very good. Thank you. And Eric.
I guess my demo would be is to continue to look at the industry and see what skills are important within the industry, right? So right now, data is super important. So, to me, that's the future, right? Of just, everywhere, right? Data is going to be needed for something, right? So always look to the industry, where the industry is moving, and then build those skills, because those skills will help you get a job.
Excellent. Very good. Good point. Good words from all. Panelists, thank you so much. What great information. Thank you for sharing your stories, your journeys with us. It just highlights the fact that, just like Denise was saying, you never know, right? I mean, look at John's path. You never know. So it's really good to hear that, and welcome, and thank you for being in our community and contributing to our area's economic development. Okay, so we're getting ready to go to some poll questions so stand by, audience. We're going to go into these breakout rooms in a little bit where you get to ask even more questions, and our panelists will share a little bit more dialogue with you. So we've got question 4 up here. What are the employment websites you use to find career opportunities and internships?
All right, lots of responses. Everybody's liking some different things. All right, let's see. I'm going to close it out in 5, 4, 3, 2. Last second one. Okay. All right, so let's see what we got here. Wow, look at that. So multiple choices for everyone, because there are multiple opportunities, right? So
Absolutely.
look at that. Okay.
Where's the RBFC website? I don't see that there.
we were a little generous and said employer website.
While we've been on the call, somebody hacked into it, Glenn.
No.
Yeah, John and them are going to have to run. No, just kidding.
All right, we got one more before we go into breakout rooms.
Okay.
So let's see here. So tailoring the resume, yes, something we're going to talk about later. So let's see what everybody thinks. Coming in a little slower. We're thinking about it, right? What could it be? What do you think? There are no wrong answers here, okay? It's just what do you, we want to know what your thoughts are. Okay, so I'm going to close it out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so let's see what we think. All right, look at that. All right, good job, everybody. So again, Bruce and Glenn will be coming on later after our breakout rooms to share about these poll questions. But now let's go ahead and do the breakout rooms. So you've been randomly assigned. However, if there is a room in particular you're interested in, you can decline that. You'll be staying in this main room and then just let me know where you want to go and I'll put you into that space. Or if you're hanging out there for a while and you want to go check out another room, then just come back to this main room and I'll be able to put you in whichever one. So we have the 4 rooms, which is accounting and finance. We have compliance, risk, and audit. Okay, so those are the 4. So I'm going to open those up now. And again, if you want to switch around, just come back to this main room and I'll be here to move you on. But I hope everybody has a great time and great conversations. All right, here we go. All right, everyone. I think we are back now. I hope you all enjoyed that time. We're going to wrap up some more polling now. So there's a new poll question. When I think we already did this one. Did we already do this one? No, resume. So go ahead and answer what you think. Again, no wrong answers here. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close it out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so let's see what we have for resume. Okay, awesome, awesome. Okay, so we're going to note that, and again, we're going to talk about that coming up. So next question we have about your interest in benefits from a potential employer. Which are most crucial to you? All right, we got some answers coming in. Let's see. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's see what we got here. Very interesting. We like health insurance and vacations. That's great. All right, so I will now let Bruce wrap us up and then we'll go into the next section.
Very good. Thanks, Misty. And thanks for your great work driving the technology bus there to get us all in and out of those rooms. Well, Little Bird told me that there was a lot of great conversations going on, so that's really good. We're so glad you folks took the opportunity to, drill down a little bit more, learn a little bit more about these various career paths in these 4 sectors. So as you can see, we're kind of building here. It's a very cumulative kind of process. It's learn about the story, learn about the journey, get a little bit more details about what you do, why you do it, where you do it. And so hopefully you're beginning to formulate a bit of a plan now in your head, like, you know what? That might be a really good spot for me. That might be a really good sector that I would like to pursue. Maybe start an internship in that, maybe launch your career in that. So in this next section of our presentation today, Glenn and I want to go back and really start giving you some tips and techniques to help you with that career objective. In other words, to be that competitive candidate that gets you that opportunity to do that internship or to start your career path in that. And we're going to kind of guide our conversation a little bit and and our discussion from the poll questions that you've been experiencing this evening or this afternoon. Okay. And that doesn't mean we can't talk about other ideas or other topics if you have them come up. But Misty, if you'd be so good to maybe put that first poll question up, I think, you know, yeah. So, I mean, there's a big piece of you guys that are looking for employment. So 38%, overwhelmingly the majority. So Glenn, do you want to kick us off and talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely, Bruce. Thank you so much. Again, enjoyed going into some of these breakout rooms. What wonderful conversations. And please know that after the end of this presentation, you'll have a chance to continue to network if you have some additional time. Now, one of the things that was interesting on this last poll question is many of you continue to look for employment opportunities. I think it's the new environment that we're in. If you think about it, if you're on LinkedIn and you've done any searching on LinkedIn for employment opportunities, don't they just send you employment opportunities all the time? And it's one of the things that is critical and important to any organization. We have to continue to recruit. Even if you're with the organization already, recruiting you to continue to stay is going to be critical as we move forward, if you will. So not uncommon for individuals to see, being passive job seekers, if you will. So yeah, that's probably my perspective of that one poll question. And then, one of the other things, Bruce, after we answer these questions and do some career development tips and techniques, definitely will introduce some of the RBFCU internship programs that we're looking to launch in the next several weeks.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So I think one of our, okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Now, this is surprising that everybody thinks it's this negative. 15 to 19%, 50% of our survey respondents said, "Oh my gosh," when actually it is, Glenn.
It just came out. So last month's unemployment rate was about 3.5%, if you will. It was down significantly from where it was just last year, which hovered about 5.3. And it was down about 0.7% from the prior month. Several years ago, we were looking at unemployment rates between 2.7 and 3.2%. And obviously during the pandemic, the unemployment rate went up drastically to 13%, if not higher. We have seen it gradually, definitely start to come down. 3.5% is absolutely low, but here's the difference. There is more employment opportunities out there than there are individuals looking for employment opportunities. And I'll probably say the same thing is going to be the case with internships. So we're glad to see the number where it is, but as you probably realize that it becomes quite competitive for employers. In fact, some of the things that RBFCU is incorporated is sign-on bonuses, if you will. Some of the things we've also increased is our minimum rate. So this is a great time for you if you are, that passive job seeker looking for employment opportunities, or if you're looking to get into the workforce, to look at these opportunities right here in the San Antonio area. That unemployment rate that I provided to you is something that we track on a monthly basis, but that's mostly for the San Antonio, New Braunfels area. The unemployment rate is pretty consistent at that rate, even in the state of Texas. So good things are happening. Great opportunities are out there.
But everybody remember this, there's a flip side to this situation now. When you've got that low of an unemployment rate, and what it does is it generates even more interest in opportunities. So now everybody's looking to maybe switch jobs, switch career paths, change. So don't be complacent. Don't think, oh, wow, there's more jobs than there are people. This is easy street. I got this. No, really, there's a whole lot of people chasing those jobs. And so it's even more important that you show your uniqueness for the position. You've got to be a competitive candidate for this, or you're going to get passed by. So let's look at the third question here.
Well, this is, Bruce, you and I have done these presentations, many of them over the last several years virtually. This is probably one of my very favorite topics is your voicemail. So let's say right now, for those that are joining us, you've applied for a position. You submitted your resume. It got the attention of the recruiter, the hiring manager. So the recruiter is probably calling you, maybe calling you right now, but you're being so nice and professional that you're not going to pick up the phone, although you're listening to Glenn and Bruce, who talk a lot because we care. We absolutely care, but you're not going to pick up the phone, right? So think about this right now. The phone, your phone call, that phone call is going to your voicemail. I want each of you, each student, to think about what your voicemail sounds like. Is it generic? Do you have it set up? Are you sure? Have you listened to it in a while? Is it your voice, but just the basic message? Hey, this is Glenn. You know what to do. Or is it professional, positive, enthusiastic? Does it get to the attention of the recruiter and hiring manager? And even if it is your voice, we're gonna challenge you to make it better. Hi, this is Glenn. Unfortunately, I'm unable to answer the call at this time. If you'd like, please leave a brief message and I'm going to get back with you just as soon as I can. Thanks for calling. Why is that important? Because if you're applying for a position, maybe it is with RBFCU, we sure hope it is. And you tell your friends and family, hey, I'm applying for a job with RBFCU. Hopefully they say, well, we hear they are a great, caring company in our community. We hope you get the job. So they're your number one fans. Who's your number one marketing representative? It's only you. Nobody sells yourself better than you. So if you're not sure what that voicemail sounds like, listen to it today. Make sure it's your voice. Make sure it's professional, engaging, enthusiastic. Why? Couple reasons. One, 85% of the time, if it's not set up, if it's not engaging, if it's generic, if it's basic, recruiters move on. I've made thousands of phone calls in my career. And I want to talk with somebody, especially if their voicemail is not set up. I want to give them guidance and support. One of the reasons I'm doing what I'm doing today. But most important, if you think about it, you've worked so hard for your degree, your journey, your story. Why let a voicemail get in the way? Most importantly, think about this. Even with an elevator pitch, we talk about that all the time, you know, that mini commercial that you have to provide when you're talking with somebody, either virtually, face-to-face when you meet them out and about at a networking event. Sometimes you only have one chance to leave a first positive, memorable impression. That's what you have to think about. First positive, memorable impression. So we're going to ask you to set it up today. Listen to your voicemail, set it up, have fun with it. You may have to record it a couple times. I know I've recorded mine a couple times. And what I want you to do is put yourself in the position of a recruiter or hiring manager. After you record your voicemail, I want you to listen to it and say, did I do enough to leave a first positive, memorable impression to get me to want to call this person back? That's what you have to think about. Don't tell friends and family that you're doing this new voicemail, because if they hear your new voicemail and if they say, hey, Eric, hey, Danny, I like your new voicemail. If they like it, I'm pretty confident a recruiter and hiring manager will like it even more. Set up your voicemail today. It may be the most important you do on this career journey. Bruce?
Yeah, two things and to second all the good words that Glenn's sharing with you guys. One, in the age of virtuality, this may be the first connection I have with you. As a recruiter, I have not met you yet. I haven't seen you yet. All I have is a piece of paper. And so the very first contact I have with you may be that voicemail. That's what Glenn's talking about. If you don't exhibit the personality you want to show, which I hope is positive, enthusiastic, dedicated, committed, in that simple little outbound message, you may not get a second chance. The second thing, recruiters are looking for a personality.
Yeah.
Recruiters today tell me all the time, it's about the person. It's about the fit. It's about, will this person fit with my team? Will this person work with my clients? Will this person fit into my culture?
Yeah.
And if all you've got is about 15 seconds of voice time to help you sell that, to get that opportunity to really close the deal, you don't want to miss that chance.
Absolutely, Bruce. You know, one of the things that you and I have done when we've held in-person events, right, is we have taken our participants and we've asked each of them to share their phone with one another. So it ties into your elevator pitch, if you will. If you want to practice your voicemail or your elevator pitch, record yourself. Have somebody record you, who you are, what you're studying, what you want to do, how to stay in contact. Listen for your own tone and inflection of your voice. That's the game changer. Does it work? I know it works. I definitely know it works. I've seen it work with friends, with family, with transitioning service members who are looking for opportunities. I've seen it work with HR professionals. I've seen it work with individuals who were studying communications or marketing or wanting to be the outreach coordinator who did not have their voicemail set up and were wondering how come they weren't getting to that next step in the interview. Takes a
Glenn,
few seconds.
Glenn, good question in the chat. Let's take time to look at. Is it okay not to include our name in our voicemail? I feel telemarketers might pretend to know me when they leave a voicemail saying my name if I provide it in my voicemail.
Yeah, I think unfortunately that's the risk we take, right? I get telemarketers all the time. I think first name is fine, maybe not your last name. Mine, if you listen to my voicemail, hi, this is Glenn. Unfortunately, I'm unable to answer the call at this time. If you'd like, please leave a brief message. I'm going to get back with you just as soon as I can. Thank you for calling. I think first names are okay. And I think pretty quickly now, you know, if you are worried about some of those telemarketers and those type of calls, there's resources, apps you can probably download on your phone to help to identify. They're getting much more, Eric can probably talk a little bit better to this, but they're being more strategic with getting in contact with you to try to get through. But don't let them be the reason that you don't find this phenomenal employment opportunity to leave that first positive impression.
Yeah, I think it's worth the trade-off, Jason, that if you have that really positive, upbeat message, I'll leave a message. You know, what you don't want is for me to call you and then hang up. So if I hear that it's you, I'll leave that as a recruiter. Okay. I'll leave that message so that you can call me back.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal point, Bruce. One of the things I've noticed is I get, probably getting a telemarketer right now, is they don't tend to leave messages, if you will, for some reason, at least the ones that call me. But again, I would first name, upbeat, positive, motivating, professional, so they do leave a message or at least want to call you back, right?
Right. Well, let's go to this next question, Glenn. We're talking about this is interesting. What employment websites are the groups using to find career opportunities? So LinkedIn's the winner, 68%.
Interesting, right? LinkedIn is phenomenal, no doubt about it. It's definitely taking inroads, if you will, place in the employment market for networking for sure. Employment opportunities, it's getting there. I will tell you, there's it is a great place for you to post your profile and your smile. Please do. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, you can find, I know you can find Bruce and myself. I'm just Glenn at RBFCU. I would love to connect with you. But LinkedIn, there's a little bit of the process. We can post positions out there, and we do at RBFCU. We highlight positions. We definitely will highlight some of our internship positions that they have, but it absolutely is not the #1 location for finding employment opportunities. And because employers, recruiters have to post those jobs there, it's a great place for headhunters to find you as well, right? And other recruiters from other companies to find you, right? So make sure you have your information updated and you can start to follow. It's a great website to build your network. No doubt about it. Individuals that may have gone to the same institution, UTSA, UT El Paso, whatever the institution, connect and follow those groups because it'll help you find employment opportunities. Obviously, LinkedIn, if you've done any sort of employment search, LinkedIn through their algorithms will start to send jobs to you. Not only while you're looking, probably after you've already landed a job, just sort of what the LinkedIn platform is. So great place to network. Probably that's its #1 game plan. It is awesome. It's definitely making changes. I've been on LinkedIn for many, many years. Indeed is a little bit different. So Indeed came in at 50%. Indeed actually, based on my research, is the #1 website for employment opportunities. The reason why is because employers don't pay to put their jobs on Indeed. So Indeed created this algorithm, and they scrape employment websites from almost all employers, if you will, and they put it on Indeed for free. So there's no fee. So if you're looking for an internships, I would also look at Indeed in addition to LinkedIn. You can find positions in all different regions throughout the country. You can actually post your resume, if you will. Now, if a company wants to highlight an internship, if a company wants to highlight their organization and employment opportunities that they have, then they do work with Indeed. They do pay them a nominal fee, a monthly fee to feature their employment opportunities. So take a look at Indeed a little closer for those that didn't look at that. And then also look at those jobs that are featured, hiring today, or even sponsored, because those are the indications that the company is paying Indeed to feature an otherwise free posting, if you will. Handshake for college students is definitely the #1 website for college students to engage with employers because of the virtual aspect, because of so many colleges that are using handshakes. But for employers, the recruiters, they actually have to, take a step of uploading those positions, those internships in Handshake. And so when you think about Indeed, the recruiter, hiring manager has to update those positions in Handshake. And because of the platform we use at RBFCU, ours automatically transition to Indeed with no additional work on our part, if you will. And then obviously employer websites. I love that, RBFCU. Please take a look at the current positions we have available. ZipRecruiter is starting to really starting to grow, if you will. They're very similar to Indeed, but they don't have the employer or the applicant traffic currently. And then all of the above. Without a doubt, when you're looking for employment opportunities, take the time to look at all those. I would probably take a look at Indeed first. I would build my network, right? Reach out, network with those that you know. Go to Indeed, look for employment opportunities. If you're in colleges, universities, great way to connect with recruiters and hiring managers that are supporting their virtual platform. I've been on many virtual career fairs through Handshake. My opinion is they've got one of the best platforms to connect and engage with students. And I think Jorge and I probably connected on that as well. So Bruce?
One of the other values that you can realize from these sites, like we're talking about LinkedIn, Indeed, and all that, is it will give you very timely and accurate information about the duties and skills requirements for the positions you're seeking. Those job descriptions are gold because now you've got literally straight from the employer what they want you to be, the type of person they're looking for. And so as you begin to think about your career exploration, you can go to those sites to look to see just exactly what they want in a candidate. There's a lot of new jobs out there with new titles. And those sites will give you that opportunity to surf around a little bit and say, you know what is a data scientist? What do they do? And what do they want their candidates to look like? I think I'm kind of interested in that. And so I always, when I coach my students, I say, go to the market, find out exactly what employers want. And then you can decide, okay, is that me or is that not me? If it is me, can I sell that? So it's very valuable that way too.
Bruce, I would, if I don't mention this website, I think it's going to be important. One that I want to also talk about for employment opportunities is your local workforce commission, if you will. In San Antonio, it's the Alamo Workforce Solutions. They do a fantastic job of putting employment opportunities out there. In fact, depending on the employer, some of the employers are required to put all of those positions out there. They do a fantastic job. And Bruce, I know we've done several presentations for them in the last several years as well. So your Workforce Solutions, Alamo, they also have career opportunities. Please take a look at those. So question number 5, Bruce.
Yes, actually, this is a big one. Why is it important to tailor your resume, cover letter to the position for which you are applying? You know, your career advisors and your career coaches, all of us, we're going to be telling you that. So it looks like the winner is highlighting your qualifications for the position.
Yeah.
54%.
And you know, my favorite answer didn't even hit didn't even score.
That's right.
So
can you tell? Go ahead, Glenn.
So think about this, right? Here's an employer. And what we're doing is we're putting a job description out there for everybody to see. The job description, right? This is the position we look and we need to fill. The description. But one of the things all positions have is the requirements of the position. And so everybody says you'll talk with recruiters, hiring managers, you name it. And for many companies, they say, well, tailor your resume to the job description and the requirements. Why? We want you to answer the quiz. We want you to answer the quiz. So if you answer the quiz, it makes us easier to identify you as a competitive candidate. So what does that mean? That means that you've got to tailor the resume. So if you see that it requires 2 or 3 years of customer service or audit, accounting, whatever it is, make sure you highlight that. Somebody said, highlight your qualifications for the position. And we're going to get into categories. But I agree. So one of those categories, I believe, should say summary of qualifications. What qualifications? The ones that were highlighted in the job posting that you are applying to. So highlight your qualifications, make it easier for the recruiter and hiring manager to pinpoint that and look at that. And Bruce, I'm just going to go into the next question. So question 6, on your resume, what's the first heading listed on your contact and after your contact information? Is it education? Is it summary of qualifications? Is it employment history? Career objective, profile. I love the fact that career objective was the #1 category. It should be. You're a recruiter and hiring manager, right? And you see, okay, I've got this job out there, and you start looking at resumes. A resume is historical. It tells us what you've done. But as a candidate, right, it has to tell us what you want to do with what you've done. And I know sometimes you may go in, it may be more than 1 page. We're okay with that. Maybe it's 2 page, maybe more. But if you get the attention of a recruiter and hiring manager at the very top of the page with your career objective, we now know what you want to do with what you've done. And career objective, I also say pinpointed. If you're applying specifically for a position, maybe it is an audit position with RBFCU. In your career objective, it should state that my career objective is to obtain an internal audit position with Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union, where I could utilize my experience, my education to meet the growing audit needs of the organization. We're not guessing what you want to do. We know exactly what you want to do. Then after that career objective, summary of qualifications. And those summary of qualifications should be you highlighting your qualifications based on the requirements of the job that is posted. Tell us what you want to do with what you've done. Get our attention at the very top. Critical and important. And I know we'll talk a little bit about cover letters, but I'll turn it over to you, Bruce.
Now remember the second part to Glenn's example when he's talking about career objective is tell us what you want, but also tell us what you're going to do for us.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just as simple as, well, I'm looking for an internship, or I want an internship in accounting, or I want a full-time job in risk or something like that. This is the opportunity for you to really come out of the chute hot with that resume saying, this is who I am, this is what I've done, and this is how it's going to benefit you. A lot of my colleagues in career development, especially for college students, sometimes will challenge me on whether there should be an objective statement or not. Well, if it's just saying that you want a job, then probably not. But that's a great place to capture the reader's attention. This is what Glenn's talking about. Hey, look at me. I've got the stuff you want, right? A resume is a very, very progressive document.
Yeah.
You start out with the objective, you get a little bit more in summary of qualifications, and now you go into the proof of the pudding in the work experience. And so if you don't get me at the beginning, it doesn't matter what you say down at the bottom. Say, oh, by the way, I cured cancer last year. Nobody's going to find that out. because you didn't capture them. I mean, why do you think people spend so much money on book covers? I don't care what they say. You can judge a book by its cover. People do it all the time. That's why they spend so much money on artwork and titles and designs, so that you'll go, oh, this looks interesting. I'm going to pick it up.
Yeah.
That's what you want to happen with a recruiter when you give them that resume. Oh, this looks interesting. I'm going to keep reading.
Tell us what you want to do with what you've done. This ties into the second point, Bruce. Cover letter. Is it required? We don't require it. Most companies don't require it. In fact, 10% of the applications we get at RBFCU, guess what? No cover letter. No cover letter. So if 90% don't provide a cover letter, I would prefer to be on the 10% that does, because if we see it, we read it, we share it. Here's the thing about a cover letter. Not everybody always says, tailor your resume to the job that you're applying to, right? And then a cover letter. What is a cover letter? I don't want to write a letter. It's not a whole letter. It's a good, solid paragraph that says, this is what I've done. And this is why I want to bring what I've done to your company. Why is that important? Because as we say, it gives you a chance to demonstrate the research that you've done on the company, right? Everybody says, do the research on the company before you apply. I say, don't do the research. Don't do just the research. I say, dazzle them with the research that you've done, right? That's your chance to say, oh my gosh, look at that. They know that RBFCU is a growing company. They know RBFCU just celebrated 1 million members. They know RBFCU is triple in size. They know RBFCU has a wonderful health and wellness program. They know that RBFCU's CEO went to UTSA, is a veteran. Dazzle us with the research that you've done on the company, because everybody does the research. Dazzle us, get our attention, and make sure it ties into the career objective and your resume. Bruce?
It's about fit, folks. It's about fit. Somebody like RBFCU is going to take the time to make sure they get the right people on the bus. They're very proud of their bus, as you can hear from the stories today from these senior executives and these other team members. And so if you want to be on that bus, you need to make sure that you think about how you are going to be valuable and fit and bring solutions. I tell my students all the time, you got to be the aspirin, not the vitamin. Okay, you got to fix the hurt. You got to fix the problem. How are you going to contribute to creating value in my organization? So let's go to the next question, number 7. Health insurance and vacation. Which comes first? We get the insurance so we can go on vacation, or do we get the vacation and get the insurance? Look, it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I think these are all important questions that you would want to ask when you're going through the interview process, when you start talking about compensation and you start talking about benefits. They all tie in. When does my medical, dental, and vision kick in? Do you offer medical, dental, and vision? How many weeks of vacation do I get throughout the year? Do you offer education reimbursement, if you will? Do you have, and today this is something that's critical and important, especially because of where we've come from in the last couple of years. It's the health and wellness programs that these organizations offer. Something that I'm grateful to work with at RBFCU, and the commitment to our program starts at the very top. Community service and activities. Do you have a volunteer corps? Do you support any of the community not-for-profits in the community? What are some of the things that our employees can do to give back? Because community service, volunteer organizations, health and wellness, that's not only part of your physical health, but we believe it's part of health, wellness, mental health is giving back to the community, finding ways for you and your family to give back. So I love all of these benefits and how important they are. And again, it ties into you doing research on the company and which one's most important to you. Again, not every company offers those types of benefits, but if you're looking for a company that does, then do your research and make sure you ask those questions during the interview.
You know, I believe my son jumped off the call because he had another appointment, but I think he would support me on this. Think about this. You know, the more non-financial benefits you get, the more value you get.
Yeah.
Salary is taxable. Vacation's not taxable. Health insurance is not taxable. Things like that are really value in your pocket that will net you out a much greater total compensation package. So yeah, salary is important. You bet. You know, that compensation is important. But remember, it's the whole box. It's the whole package, because there's a lot of value in that. That is, it's, you get to keep it 100%.
That's right. So Bruce, we've got 2 more questions. I know there's one more poll question that Misty's going to deploy that we'll talk about wellness, but we think it's important for our audience to know 2 of the most missed questions in an interview. And right, what we're trying to provide you is information as you start looking for internship opportunities, how you can be a more competitive candidate. This question is going to come up for all of you at some point in time when you're applying for a position. What's your career objective, and how does this career objective, this position that you've applied to, tie into your career objective? It's really simple. Your career objective is always to get the job that you've applied to. Never step over the job you've applied to. Step into it, embrace it. If you have applied to a risk audit or risk or compliance, that's your career objective at that time. Never take your eye off your interest in growing within the organization, but during the interview, talk about how you're going to be the best risk coordinator we've had, where you want to contribute to the organization so you can stay and grow. But if you come in and say, yeah, I want to come into risk, but then maybe I want to go into audit, you know, and I'm thinking maybe even marketing, and, you know, maybe even a recruiter. The here and now, you applied for a certain position, sell us on that position, that's what you're interested in. The here and now, don't step over the position, step into it. I had people that said, well, you know, but I want to be a manager or supervisor at some point. I want to be a lead. I want to manage the department. That's fine. I want you to be that. But help us help you get on the path, not your foot in the door, right? Help us to help get you on the path. So focus on the job you've applied to, the here and now. Don't step over it, step into it, embrace it. Bruce?
Yeah, it'll come. I mean, this is a prime example of the demonstration of the power of an organization like Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union gives to recognize the internal promotion opportunities. Listen to these folks talk. I mean, remember Ashley's story. I mean, holy cow, from teller to senior VP. So you'll get there. I watched a video one time with Jack Welch, the previous CEO of General Electric. And he said, in this interview, he said, if you have a career plan, burn it. And what he meant was just do your job and do it really, really well, and it'll come. And so I think that's what the point Glenn and I want to make is of course, you want to have enthusiasm and drive and initiative and you know, to grow and to climb the ladder, if you will. But okay, first things first, you know, get this and show them what you can do.
Yeah, and in my career, I've seen that to be one of the most missed questions, if you will. And again, if you answer it right, because it's the easiest question to get right, right?
Right.
But it's also the easiest question to get wrong. And when you get it wrong, game changer, next candidate, showstopper.
Yeah.
Next question, most missed question is, what's your salary? Can't you wait, audience, till you get this question? What's your salary expectation? What are you looking to make? How do I answer that question? So very simple, very easy. Do your research. You can find this information, salary.com, Glassdoor, maybe through your network. Find out what the position pays in the community with which you want to work. I would say be negotiable. So based on my research, this position pays between $45,000 and $65,000 a year. But at the end of the day, this is exactly the position I'm looking for. So I'm negotiable. Can you tell me about the wonderful benefits your company offers. Do your research, have a range, turn it back on them to ask about the benefits. Critical and important, because if you're a candidate with RBFCU, I definitely want to tell you about the medical, dental, and vision from day one of employment. I want to talk about our 401k plan matching, if you will. I want to talk about our health and wellness plan. I want to talk about our benefits and our PTO and growth opportunities. So again, do your research, be negotiable, and turn it back on them to sell you on the benefits and the overall package, as Bruce talked about earlier.
Glenn, we have a good question in the chat. I find that most of the cover letters I have prepared feel redundant with my resume. Do you have any tips?
Yeah, I saw that question as well. Thanks, Bruce. Again, it's dazzling them with the research that you've done, because if you're researching a company, not all their background, not all their journey, not their mission to their members is going to be the same, if you will. So try to find information in doing your research on that company that you could add to the cover letter that'll say, okay, this is important. And you may have to tweak it, depending on the company. So if you think it's somewhat generic, if you will, it's probably a good opportunity to do a refresh, but refresh it based on the research and the things that you've identified about the company.
Also, in a very recent survey conducted by the National Association of Colleges and Employers, when they reached out to ask employers, what are the top skills you want in a candidate these days? Easily in the top 5, and I think it was even in the top 3, written communication. They want you to know how to write. And I know in this age of technology and OMG and LOL, okay, but you still need to demonstrate that skill. A cover letter gives you that chance to demonstrate your writing ability. And yeah, you're pretty much going to be highlighting the same skills and strengths you got for the job, but it gives you a chance to really express yourself more comprehensively in true narrative form than a resume, right? A resume is bulleted, brief, boom, 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 boom. Cover letter is like, let me tell you my story, because I want you to keep reading.
Absolutely. What I've done and why I want to bring what I've done to your wonderful organization. That's fantastic, Bruce. So with that, these conclude some of our career tips and techniques. It's not a guarantee that you're gonna, get that next job, but I know that as we've done this presentation, it is a guarantee that if you do step forward, if you do incorporate some of the things, unfortunately, I'm sorry, some of the homework we may have provided, remember your voicemail, the career objective, your resume, interview for the position you're in the room for. Look at positions on all these categories. I would start at Indeed. Connect with your network via LinkedIn. Get the attention of the recruiter and hiring manager. No foot in the door, foot on the path. If you incorporate some of the things that we've shared with, we can guarantee that you will be a more competitive candidate as you start seeking internships and also employment opportunities. Did I say internships? Maybe we should talk a little bit about internships. Yes. I know one of the things that we have talked about at RBFCU, Bruce and the RBFCU team, many years ago, we got together and started talking about an internship program. And so with the support of many of our institutions, definitely had conversations with Mr. Howard, RBFCU put together, I believe, a very comprehensive internship program, and it grew over time. Many of those interns that have been part of those programs in the past currently do work for RBFCU. Isn't that what you want to hear? I think it's important. We have interns that work for RBFCU today. Some may have left RBFCU because they thought the grass was greener, but boy, they're back with RBFCU. Sometimes it's not always greener, right, until you get there. So we're excited because through the pandemic, although we put our internship on pause, we still were able to offer a few internships in cybersecurity and IT, and we did. But our main internship program is typically around the summertime, typically late, I'd say second week of June, lasting about 10 to 12 weeks with some flexibility from our departments. And I'm going to sneeze. Hopefully I don't sneeze. Okay. I'm getting excited about the internship program, but I'm looking to relaunch it with the support of Eileen and Bernice and and Ashley and the other leaders of RBFCU. So we're looking to, again, relaunch it. You'll see positions posted on the RBFCU website. We're looking primarily probably the second week in May. Now, the interesting thing about it is we just don't post one internship and say, okay, apply to this one. We'll actually post internships in the different areas: risk, compliance, audit, accounting, central branch operations, business solutions, which is a great department that helps businesses grow. We're hoping marketing. So you'll see different types of internships on the RBFCU website, and then they automatically transition to Indeed. And I'm pretty positive that we will promote them on LinkedIn as well as we do. So what about the internship program? 10 to 12 weeks. We're hoping primarily it's in person at our campus. We want you to feel what the RBFCU position is about. I just saw that we're hoping it's more in person. Some of the departments may be a little flexible with that. It is a paid internship. When we started the internship many years ago, it was $12 an hour. Then we moved it to $15 an hour. Our internship will be $18 an hour is what we're looking at. We do give you the opportunity to, if you need benefits, you can sign on for our benefits as well. I know it's been beneficial in the past. We're going to try to be flexible with hours as well, because we know many of you are probably going to be going back or continuing with school during the summer. So we've added that flexibility. You'll have a department mentor, which is critical to the success of the internship program because of their commitment that you'll be able to check in with. Probably the worst part about the internship is you'll have to work with me as well. So you get a chance to work with me and talk with me. We do career development. And what I do is I get you to understand and hopefully to embrace the culture of RBFCU. So we'll go on community events as we can in person. We'll support career development workshops at colleges, universities, and also for our transitioning military, if you will. So I'm excited that we're able to move this program, if you will. So please be on the lookout. I've given you some of the key elements of that. And again, it'll be more than one internship. If there's more than one that you're interested in, the way our process works and our applicant tracking system works, you have to apply to each one of those internships. Just because you applied to one doesn't mean that you are being considered for the other. So if there's more than one, apply to each one of those internships, because that's how it works. You become a candidate for every single one. Now, here's the thing. To be that competitive candidate, we hope you will incorporate some of the things that Bruce and I have provided to you. If you have any questions, definitely I'm on LinkedIn. I'm glad to connect with you and answer any questions you possibly can. So the very, very last poll question.
Glenn, the question in the chat, would the internship be virtual or strictly in San Antonio? And so I think you mentioned it, you're going to try to make it in person. So yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely going to try, but some of the departments, there may be a need to offer some flexibility when it comes to that. We want an internship to turn into a position with RBFCU. So part of that is understanding the culture that we offer. It can work virtually, and it does work virtually, but we want you to stay and grow within the organization. So more to come on that, and it'll be based on the needs of the departments. The last poll question we have, please take a look at that and answer. Thank you, Misty.
Yes, of course. Okay, so we're going to transition and talk a little bit about wellness before we wrap up for the day, because we just want to know what your thoughts are, where are you at with it, and provide you some info and support as much as we can. So let's see here. Let's got most everybody answered so far. Gonna keep it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So let's see where everyone's at with this daily. That is fantastic. That's really awesome. I remember when I was in college, I did not even think about it, so unless I was stressed. That's why I put that one in there. But I'm so glad to hear that. And it is something that is so important to our well-being and to who we are. So I'm going to share with everyone, if I may, some information that I found really helpful in all of this. So really there is more than just thinking about your health. And it's more than just the absence of any kind of illness, right? There's so many areas to focus on, as you can see here from this wheel. And you probably can't see, it's a little blurry and small, but this is actually from 1976, you guys. So it holds true even today. Isn't that interesting? I thought that was so interesting. And I'd actually add another little piece to it here. Financial, right? Financial. I know that's something a lot of people talk about, and because we're talking with RBFCU, it's very fitting for that too. So all of this includes our physical health, safety, social, emotional, spiritual. It's all about our sense of well-being overall. It's an important life aspect, and it has an impact on all of the things that we do and the achievements that we have or don't have within life too. So really, positive well-being allows you to realize your full potential, to be able to cope with stresses of life, work, be able to be productive in what you want to be, and make meaningful contributions to your community. However, sometimes we might need some help. So what are some of the things that are available and that we can do? So just so you know, it's really important to think about what resources you have. So I wanted to share this to let you know, at every university, the staff and faculty are cross-trained to assist students in these areas, including directing you to resources and offices that can be more specific, whatever your needs are. So definitely keep that in mind. I know can be a lot of stigma around mental health and assistance programs. That's one of the main barriers that have been shown to be an access to care, and for people to receive equitable quality of care. So, but really, it's more common than you think. For example, in studies done since 2019, only 43% of American adults with mental health conditions and 64% of adults with serious mental health illness receive treatment. That means only 40 to 50% of people who have been diagnosed or have known conditions don't seek treatment. And imagine how many are undiagnosed or unknown entirely, right? So it's important to think about not only ourselves, but others as well. So if you don't ask for help, your mental and emotional wellness may get worse over. It may contribute to other health problems. It could rob you of the academic and social enjoyment and success that brought you to college in the first place. It could affect, your career development and, how confident you feel about applying for positions and being that standout candidate, right? Also, leads to things like self-medication, high-risk behaviors, different consequences all around with those things too. And one of the things that we wanted to share, and I think it was important that Glenn was really impacted by, is that the second leading cause of death for college students is actually suicide. So again, providing you guys some information about that and really letting you know that there's a lot of help out there. And if it's not for you or your friend, maybe you know somebody who's struggling with something, definitely keep that in mind and keep them in your awareness as much as you can for all of that. Okay, so from here, when we struggle, what can we do right now? Today. So everybody focused daily, which is awesome. Most people are focused daily. So what can we do? Most companies have benefits and resources for wellness, for counseling. And of course, RBFCU is no different. Glenn kind of touched on that just a bit. But they put a list together in collaboration with friends that they have at Health Check 360. This organization assists RBFCU with health and wellness initiatives throughout the year. So there's lots of different things that you can do. So I like these two graphics because they're very positive and they're focused on the things that we can really just hone into, even small things. But the list they came up with too are things like simple, like listen to your favorite music, read a good book, volunteer in the community, which is a huge aspect of the RBFCU culture. Relaxation breathing techniques. I know I don't do that myself a lot, even when I'm presenting. Sometimes I forget to breathe a little bit more than I should. Maybe yoga, think about your healthy eating and exercise habits, things like that. So in closing, wellness is a practice. There are resources, there's help available. You deserve to be well. You deserve to go into this next journey of your life feeling positive and powerful and ready. And so from there, I'll turn it over to Glenn, who is a champion for wellness at RBFCU. So Glenn, I'll turn it back to you to wrap us up. And again, if there's anything to share in the chat, I saw some chats come in. So I'd be happy to answer questions as well.
Misty, thank you so much. What a wonderful way to close out the event. And I think it just says to all the students out there is we care. We care as a community. We care about your journey. Sometimes you want to talk with career services about, the next step, your resume, and sometimes you just want to talk with somebody in career services just to talk. Don't go through this journey alone. It's the reason we do what we do. So Misty, thank you for closing that. And in conclusion of this presentation, again, I want to thank all of our event coordinators, Jorge and Brandon and Bruce and Misty, the RBFCU team. Thank you for always giving your time, for the call of duty to give back, which is people helping people. That's what we're here to do. And we hope you have a chance to take a look at our employment opportunities and our internships that are coming up. If you decide to apply for a position, you're more than welcome to put Glenn down as somebody you know at RBFCU, especially because you took the time to do this. We are grateful and honored for our partners in the community. And I think it's true to San Antonio. It's why my family moved to San Antonio more than 40 years ago. It's because of the culture, the diversity, and the caring commitment that organizations have. And that's why I'm glad to be part of RBFCU. With that, that concludes our presentation. Bruce, any final words? And we'd like to do a reflection. So if students want to stay on for a little bit more, we'd be glad to answer any questions we have in this larger forum. Again, connect with us on LinkedIn. Bruce, any final questions for you or Misty or Jorge? Do you have any final questions as well or thoughts?
Well, I just want to say, thank you all so much for taking the time to really set this up. It was really great to work with you all for like the past, I want to say like 8 weeks. And just getting to know more about RBFCU and giving these job opportunities to the students, because I know a couple of like UTSA students, which is the university I attended here. And it just really meant a lot to, for y'all to share, these tips and like the positive experiences that y'all went through. And I just want to say thanks so much for all that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Looking forward to working with you in the future. Mr. Howard?
Glenn, you've summed it up very well, my friend. You always have good words. I will just share with the audience, just don't be so worried and stressed about trying to find the perfect job. Okay, there is no such thing. I don't think there is. There is the job that's perfect for you. And so learn from these journeys and these travels and these experiences that it really is a winding road and you'll be okay. You'll find new things to do. You'll find new ways to explore for your own career path, and it's all right. Don't look for that. I don't want any of you guys saying, well, I don't know if I want to do that for the rest of my life. Nobody's asking you to do it for the rest of your life. We're just here to help you start your life. So
Absolutely.
Keep that in mind as you progress through this career development journey.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Glenn, for inviting me to be a part of this. And also thank you to the RBFCU team. Wonderful folks. I'm so lucky to have the opportunity to consistently work with you guys. And it's really great to be a part of the Big Blue.
Thank you, Bruce. One of the things Bruce always says is let's have a conversation. And so John and Byron, my goodness, I just love the conversation and your stories that you shared with everybody. Absolutely appreciate it. So I'm going to open it up. Does anybody have any comments? John, Byron, any final last words, or any of the students? You're more than welcome to ask us any question. We definitely have a couple minutes.
Hey, so I just had a quick question. If we were to get hired after the internship, knowing that we are students and our schedule might be a little funky at first while we're still going to classes, are all the positions full-time, or are they kind of like, or can we at least try and gear them around our schedule since we still
Yeah.
have class?
Oh my gosh, I love that question. You know why? What school are you from, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm going to Texas A&M, San Antonio here for finance.
So connect with Josue, who was our most recent Texas A&M San Antonio IT cybersecurity intern. By the way, new employee at RBFCU, and that flexibility is what made the difference, if you will. So yes, the answer is yes. We definitely look to make it work. Again, during this internship program, it's like a mini interview for you interviewing us and for us interviewing you, right? It's a little bit longer, but how you commit to the position definitely gives us the opportunity to offer you that flexibility. Yeah. I was thinking maybe you were from UTSA, because same thing happened with our previous cybersecurity analyst, Chandler Miller, who was a UTSA intern 3 years ago before the pandemic, and she currently is on our cybersecurity team. And it was that flexibility to allow her to complete her education and then brought her to RBFC. But she stayed with us while she did that. Great question.
Well,
thank you, George.
That more than answers my question. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And there is a question in the chat about where can we access internship applications. So I did send the link to RBFCU careers, but if you could answer that one, that'd be great.
Yep, they definitely are not posted at this point. We're doing our final look at all the roles and responsibility, if you will, and those job descriptions. Again, it's our department's looking to relaunch a program that we had 3.5 years ago. So you'll find those jobs definitely at the RBFCU website. Do that research, dazzle us with the research you've done on RBFCU, but also you will for sure find them on Indeed.com. And I think they'll most likely, pretty confident they'll be promoted on Indeed.com. I'm sorry, on LinkedIn. So the RBFCU website, LinkedIn, and I think that'll be where you'll find them. And again, if it's more than one that you're interested in, apply to every single one that you're interested in. Thank you, Misty.
I keep hearing all about, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I kept hearing about the culture, which that was one of my questions. So y'all talk about the culture there. So what do you mean by that? What is the culture at RBFCU?
Well, it's funny. I hear from John and Byron. I know I've worked with John and Byron over the years, and John just more recently, if you will. So the culture is this, and maybe I can describe it better in my own role with RBFCU. I was hired years ago to be a senior recruiter, moved into managing and directing all the recruiters. Had a chance to interview applicant after applicant. I spent hours, days behind the doors interviewing candidates. And one of the things that came from that is definitely was able to recruit and hire many individuals to RBFCU and other organizations that I work for. But one of the things became apparent is if I had a chance to talk with applicants before they apply for positions with RBFCU, we hope it's with RBFCU, but if I had a chance to do career development and talk with them and give them tips and tools and techniques to be a more competitive candidate, then I think their success of finding that role and responsibility would be more positive, if you will, more successful. So I sort of pivoted. My role today is to get out and about to help you to offer these types of programs that says before you apply, consider these items, make yourself a more competitive candidate. So that's what it's about. It's people helping people. I'm here to help you as part of the RBFCU culture. Find your career path. It's challenging. There's no doubt about it. Apply for position after position and no call. Nobody's leaving a voicemail. I had somebody say that, well, by the way, Andre, your voicemail wasn't set up. So helping individuals identify those things, but that's just the recruitment side of it. Then we support community initiatives all over San Antonio. Part of our health and wellness program is our employees at RBFCU have a chance to do biometric screening, which is coming up. So what is that? So if you are an RBFCU employee, you go through a healthcare screening. You don't have to, But if you do and you meet certain criteria, then you get discounts on your already very low healthcare premiums. If you don't, part of our people, part of helping our employees, we find opportunities and events and programs, 5Ks, walk, whatever it is, to get our employees to improve their health, and then we pay for it. So it's our commitment to the community, it's our commitment to our members, it's a commitment to the health and well-being of our employees, and it's a commitment to those that are seeking their careers. And we hope it's with RBFCU, but as Mr. O'Connor indicated, as we've hosted programs at the Randolph Brooks campus, if we can help you find a career to what you're looking for, then we're all in. It's just people helping people. Hopefully that answers your question.
To go along,
I would say is that, oh, sorry, you have open, go ahead.
to go along with that question, I just wanted to ask, what kind of educational expenses do you guys help with? You said people helping people. I'm in the process of hopefully starting the master's program to get my CPA and MSA, in the next year. So the problem with that is, eventually you run out of federal student loans, and I'm gonna have to figure out how to finish that. So
absolutely. Yeah, it is part of that's a great question. I know so many students are going through that program. In fact, with our interns, if you join us, you have to be with the organization for at least 6 months before you can qualify for the educational reimbursement, if you will. So we offer what most companies traditionally offer, if you will, but it's definitely part of the plan. And some of our employees, time it out, if you will. But the benefit of joining us and helping you pay for that is you get to continue to grow your career, and also not with all the expense, if you will, that you may take, if you will. So we definitely offer it. There is a period of time you have to be with us, but it's a question that a lot of companies are looking to face. It's something that we've been in place for many years. Here's the other thing: if you join us and you are continuing your education, you also have a chance, we hope, to participate in our 401k plan. One of the things that we offered RBFCU that I think is critical, especially somebody who was growing their career, is how much do you contribute to your 401k plan? If you can put in 4%, Nicholas will actually put in another 8% in on top of your 4. It's a 2-for-1 match. If you put in 6%, we put in another 10 on top of the 6. If we can provide an end of year bonus, it's not a guarantee. Well, then we've done that as well. How about in full-time positions, 4.5 weeks of vacation? I've never used 4.5 weeks of vacation. If I don't use it, I don't lose it. It rolls over. I can accrue up to 600 hours.
Awesome. That was mine on my answer was vacation. Yeah. I've been in my current role for 18 years. So I have a 401k, I have a career. But I went back to school because I am at the top of the ladder, basically. Small business. So unless I want to go into small business on my own, I need to figure out what my next step is. So that was definitely why I'm on this call and what I was interested in.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're fortunate as we continue to grow. And I think the thing that Bernice and Eileen talked about, and Ashley, is with every role and responsibility as we've grown, from 600 employees to 2,100 employees, we have embedded growth opportunities with every role and responsibility. And you can move to different departments, but if you're applying for a certain job, focus on that job, right? We're fortunate, and hopefully I've provided enough information, as part of a recruiter and recruited for many years. We want to recruit you. We want to talk with you about the benefits. We hope we're a great fit for you. But if we help you to engage and find a job with another company, it's your career, it's your journey, it's your path. And we hope we can be part of that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Glenn,
yes.
I had a question regarding something that John Hanson had brought up. It was about the on-the-job training that he had at Deloitte. He said that his on-the-job training was he got sent over to a different place, outside of the state, and was on a computer and that was his on-the-job training. So
I know, right? I was like, no, what do you know? No, you can't. I love that. That's the first time I heard the story myself, but it happens, right? Right, Jason, it happens, and I will tell you that we have a phenomenal in-house learning and development team, if you will. We have ongoing training to meet the risk and compliance needs of a growing organization, if you will, which Bernice and her team do. But also we work very closely. You know, when you join RBFCU, you've got to go through initial training, but you are guided and supported by the team that's going to work with you every single day. But training can't be stagnant, right? Especially as you're a growing organization, it has to be ongoing. And we have a phenomenal, in fact, Ashley leads the learning and development team as well, one of her other responsibilities. So the training will definitely continue.
Thank you so much. I was really curious about that, to see how RBFC compared to the big four firm. Is it better or worse?
Well, hey, I think he even said it, right? Work-life balance. Our accounting's risk man, most of them go home at the end of the day, you know, so, and we understand that. We understand that, but yeah, great question. Byron, you worked at a big four, is that right, Byron, before? Or one of the accounting firms?
So they would call themselves the 5th biggest. They would dispute that with BKD, yes.
Yeah. How was your work-life balance there?
Not great, not great. I think your base expectation was generally around like 50 hours. Busy season. I remember one job I had 65 billable hours to one job, which is not even the one I was leading. And of course, your billable hours aren't the number of hours you work. They're just the number of hours that you're actually clocking in. So that's emails and whatnot on top of that. And then the job I was actually leading at the same time. So,
oh my goodness.
Yes. And to add that, here, I think maybe I'll have a week or two that ever hit 50.
Were you on?
You make it up on the back end.
The big four is not for everybody, right? But I will always encourage somebody, if you get opportunity, take it. It's one of the fields that, again, it builds your work ethic and it makes you learn on a very fast pace.
Yeah.
Right. So if you get opportunity, some people go there for a year or two and then they're out. I was actually on a partner track. Again, if it wasn't marriage, but I remember telling my boss during the interview that my weakness is being a workaholic. I grew up in Ghana where even going to school, I have to, every other week, I have to walk 20 miles from school, boarding school to home, get a little bit of money, eat. And in order to keep the money for food, I have to walk 20 more miles back to school, right? And so it was just me. For me, not working is, basically it's very stressful for me to just sit and relax watching TV or something. It's just too much work for me. So it's almost like Proverbs chapter 6, it says, a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the arms, then poverty comes to you like a thief, right? So for me,
it was that work ethic. It was that attitude.
Exactly. So
John, what do they say? They say we can teach you to do the job, but we can't teach you the effort and the attitude to get it done.
Exactly. Yes.
Wow. Thank you. Great question. Bernice, did you have any final thoughts? We're just doing a reflection during this piece of is she still on? Oh, she may have logged off. Adrian, any final thoughts from you, sir?
I would just echo what the speakers before me have said, and students, again, I think a major takeaway is that you're not alone in this process, that job searching, looking for a career opportunity takes every available resource to you. So leverage your network and trust that you've got people in your corner who are going to advocate for you.
Absolutely. And I think
Glenn,
go ahead.
Well, there's a question in chat, Glenn. What are the top community service programs that RBFCU is involved in?
Oh my goodness.
Top community service programs.
Yeah, so it's pretty, it's a difficult question to ask, to respond to, only because with more than 60 branches, we're embedded into the communities within those branches are embedded into those communities. So it's not the corporate headquarters saying, look at us, let's do this, let's do that. Sometimes it's driven by those communities, but United Way absolutely is one of those community initiatives that we're huge sponsors of. In the last month, we have completed donation drives for Haven for Hope. In fact, our interns have worked at Haven for Hope several occasions. We've also worked at the San Antonio Food Bank. We just recently completed a donation drive. And in fact, today was the final day of our donation drive for the San Antonio Food Bank. On this Tuesday, we had employees that donated blood to the South Texas Blood and Tissue Center. And one of the other initiatives, Bruce, and you are part of this as well, as we work closely with transitioning service members, their families, and their spouses for employment opportunities. We have supported an organization called the Centurion Military Alliance, where RBFCU is hosted, probably one of the largest growing community initiatives at our campus. The largest one we had was 3 years ago, and we're looking at some point to bring it back. So our involvement is based on the needs and the awareness of our employees, and then the ones that I've mentioned to you are much larger, wider scale. The Boys and Girls Club, oh my gosh, there's just so many. But yeah, this is Military City USA, and our CEO is a veteran, so we definitely look to support the community and do mock interviews and resume reviews. And in fact, I was just at an event yesterday, if you will. So hopefully that answers the question. All right. It is Misty, it's 4:49. I want to say thank you to everybody. If you need to get in contact, I'm just Glenn at RBFCU. Please reach out to me. If you decide to apply for any of the internships, you are more than welcome to put me down as somebody that you know. John and Byron, thank you for taking time out of your day. Bruce, thank you. Misty, thank you. Students, thank you for stepping forward. We can provide you this information, but the next steps are up to you. And with that, we'll leave you, and we hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. You too.
Thank you. Thank you, Jorge. Bye, everyone.